So I just want to go over our format here for the King of 94. So you're guaranteed 7 games as part of your registration. No matter what happens, you're going to get your 6 round robin games. We play 3 home, 3 away. And regardless of how you do, if you win 3, you move on. If you lose 2 or win 2 or less, then you go into a single elimination round, a wild card round to qualify for King of 94. We precede our groups based on skill and what we know about the players. We try and make the groups as even as we can, and that's for all of our tournaments. The Duke of 94, I mean, we'll have limited information on the NBA Jam one, but same thing. We try and make the groups as even as we possibly can. Nothing has been perfect, but that's what we try and do. We'll have a score sheet set up for you on the day there, and we randomly assign you a number on that day so that you will just follow your schedule all the way through, and you'll know who you're playing in your group. Once we seed the players, we do a tie-breaking system, which is based on, so first we go with wins, then we go the plus-minus spread, and then fewest goals allowed, and then the fourth tiebreaker is whoever registered for the tournament first. I think that's only ever come into play maybe 3 times, but it can happen. As we mentioned earlier, the playoffs is going to be double elimination for King of 94 format. Best of 3 series on both the winner's bracket side, loser's bracket side, until we get to the finals. When we get to the finals, the winner's bracket side is going to have a 1-0 series lead against the loser's bracket, and they'll play a best of 7. Each game, when you're playing the same person, we do a coin flip to start to determine who the visitor is. But then after that, you just rotate. So if you lost the coin toss in game 1 of your series, then game 2, you're the winner of the coin toss. And then game 3, you'd be the loser of the coin toss. If you meet that player again at some point later on in the tournament, then again, there would be no coin toss. You would just reverse what the coin toss was, and you continue on with the series. With our Duke of 94 tournament, you're guaranteed 4 games, so that's going to be a 3-game round. 4 games no matter what. We'll either do 3 or 4-game round robin. Again, groups are seated on based on what we know. Everybody else will be assigned randomly to a group. Usually what I do is I ask if you're traveling with a buddy and you want to be separated out into groups, I'm happy to do that. No problem at all. Same thing for this one here. Players who win 2 games will qualify for the next round. And if you win 1 game or less, you go into a single elimination to re-qualify as one of our wild card spots. The Duke of 94 double elimination is single game only, so it's not a best of 3 like the King of 94. Single best of, we can call it best of 1. So it's a double elimination best of 1 until we get to the finals. The finals are a best of 5, and the winners bracket will have a 1-0 series lead. So I want to just say too that as part of these formats, this is based on an ideal situation that we have enough consoles in place in order to be able to do so. So if we end up getting more players than we thought and not enough consoles, then we will have to probably scale back on the format. But just know that the games that you're guaranteed, so if you play in King of 94, you're guaranteed 7 games. We're going to promise that no matter what happens. And with the Duke of 94, you're going to get 4 games guaranteed no matter what happens. Okay? The King of Jam tournament also played on Nintendo and Sega. Same thing. You're guaranteed 4 games. It's just like the Duke of 94 tournament, round robin format. We will seed as best as we know about the skill level of players. And again, this is a brand new tournament, so we've got limited information on those. We're just going to go by what we know of those that register. And then same thing, randomly assigning other players to a group. If you have a buddy, you can let us know, and then we'll try and separate you out into a separate group. Again, 1 score sheet for the entire round. And those that win 2 or more games will move on to the King of Jam bracket. Those who who win 1 or less will be in our wild card bracket, which is a single elimination bracket, best of 1. Again, prize money, we talked about it a little bit earlier for all 3 tournaments, but we give a first, second, and third prize for those tournaments. Quickly cover the Duke of 94 and King of 94 rules that are in place as part of this. So with the King of 94, it's 5-minute periods, no offsides, penalties are on, no line changes, manual goalie. For the Duke of 94, the differences are that the penalties are turned off and it's automatic goalie. Everything else is the same. For your round robin, we will automatically determine who's visiting and who's home, so you don't have to do a coin flip. But how it works is that the loser of the coin flip is going to pick the 2 teams, and the winner picks the home team. Can't pick all-star teams for the tournament. As we talked about before, one of our changes this year for your round robin matchups, the visiting teams are when you're picking your matchups, you'll have 3 matchups that you pick for King of 94, and you cannot pick the same teams in any of your matchups. So if you pick Boston, Chicago when you're visitor the first time, you can't pick either one of those teams again. Maybe your next matchup you call Pittsburgh, Calgary, so now you can't use a Chicago, Boston, or Pittsburgh, Calgary. You'd have to pick 2 different teams for the last matchup, and that's how we're going to do that going forward. With the Duke of 94, you can pick any team that you want. You just can't pick the all-star team. So if you have a favorite team, whether Chicago or Boston or Montreal or Toronto, whoever, you can use that same team throughout the entire tournament for the Duke of 94. The King of 94 bracket, as we talked about, it's going to be a best of 3. It's a double elimination tournament. It's best of 3 all the way through, whether on the winner's side or the loser's side. And it is a best of 7 for the final. So the winner will have a 1-0 series lead going into that. The winner's bracket side will have a 1-0 series lead in the final. And the loser bracket side that's coming up has to win 4 games, where the other guy only has to win 3 games. As mentioned, at any point for any of your tournaments, if you're meeting the same player again, whatever the coin flip was, the last game that you played them, there is no new coin flip. It just reverses, and you treat it that way. And that's regardless of which tournament that you're playing in. If there is a system malfunction in the tournament, you have to try and remember what the score is, and then you play that many periods remaining. So if it's in the second period and the score is 3-1, then you would play 2 more periods with the score starting with 3-1. And then at the end of those 2 periods, you just tally up the numbers, and that's your final score. If it's tied, you play overtime. Overtime is regardless of what game it is. So once 3 periods are done, it goes to overtime. You play until there's a winner. If there is no winner after overtime, you reset the game and start again. So unfortunately, things like injured players and penalties, that stuff does not carry over. And so you're kind of stuck with it. It's just a brand new game, and that's how we've decided to do it. Changing goalies. So you can change goalies during, obviously before the game and during stoppages. So the only other time that you can do it during the game is if you're pulling a goalie during the game to get the extra attacker on. You're allowed to do that. We prefer that you do that when you have control of the puck. You should not be pausing the game if somebody else has the puck and they're on a breakaway. That is considered, you could say that's bad etiquette. So don't allow that. But changing the goalies as long as it is during the period or during a timeout, you can change your goalie, or you can do it during when they're pulling the goalie for an extra attacker. You cannot do it during a face-off or when a penalty is called, because those cause some. I know those can cause issues. I believe in the Sega version, so we've kind of disallowed it. Substituting for an extra attacker. This is allowed during game play, as we mentioned, but we prefer that you have the control of the puck, or that the puck is in the neutral or offensive zone. We'll provide you controllers, so you don't have to bring your own, but you can bring your own if you want to. As long as it's one of the original controllers or something very similar to those original controllers, like a third-party ones that look the same, we're okay with that. just can't have the turbo option. Editing your lines. So you can edit your lines at the beginning of the game, during intermissions, and when there are injuries, or you can call a timeout. But that's it. We don't want players changing their lineups at any point in the game because there is no line changes as part of it, and this is part of why we do that. So if you're going to make a change, has to be during one of those times. So again, beginning of the game, intermission, when a player is injured, or a timeout. And when any of those things happen, both sides can change their lineups. We have a 6-goal mercy rule. So at any point during the game, if a team is up or a player is up by 6 goals, the game is over. You do not continue playing. There is basically we've kind of established that a 6-goal lead is pretty much insurmountable. I think I've played this game, probably 10,000 times, and I can remember one time I think in my entire life that I might have lost being up by 6. So it rarely happens, and we've just said, at that point the game is just over with. Let's just move on to the next game. So again, 6-goal mercy rule. As soon as that happens, regardless if it's in the first, second, or third period, the game is over. Stop the game and move on to the next game. And anything that's not covered inside these rules, it'll either be myself or Smaz, who you saw in the cast earlier. You can come see us if something comes up that is not covered under the rules and the two of you can't resolve it yourself, then we'll step in and make a decision on that. I'll quickly touch on the King of Jam rules. Again, thank you to Green Magic and Retro Sports Gamer for providing me some insight on this, because those guys are much more experts on this game than I am. So for King of Jam, which is the NBA Jam Tournament Edition game that we're playing, we've got it on timer speed of normal, drone difficulty is normal, tag mode is on, computer assistance is off, shot clock is 24 seconds, which with the tag mode or tournament mode on, that means your overtime is also 3 minutes. We're going to turn hotspots off, power icons are off, and juice mode at 1. So enhancement codes, we're not going to be using those as part of the game. Same thing, selecting teams. Your coin flip takes place. The loser picks the two picks the two teams that are playing in the matchup, and the winner picks their choices and is player 2 for that game. If the same two players meet in the tournament, again, no coin flip takes place. They just reverse the coin flip from before and continue playing. If there's a system malfunction, the game resets. Try and remember what the score was before it went off. Then you reset the game, start with that score, and play the remaining quarters. So again, if it's in the third quarter and whatever the score is, if it's 35-25 or whatever, then you will reset the game and play 2 more quarters with that score and play right to the end. The game is still tied. It goes to overtime, and it's continuous overtime in NBA Jam, so there is no ending, so you'll just keep playing until there's a winner. Again, we're there to resolve any disputes if it comes to that, and controllers will be provided, again, because they're going to be there all day. So, again, if you want to bring one, you can. Just can't have the turbo option as part of it. It needs to be one of the either originals or sort of a knockoff of the original. Smaz, I see that you're back. I'll just check in with you one more time. I think I'm just about done here. So I can't imagine too many people are watching at this point now.
No, I think even during it, we were going from between 5 and 2.
I can barely hear you.
Oh, what about now?
Oh, there we go.
Okay. I think even during the early parts, we had between 5 and 2 and 5 viewers.
Actually, we made it to 4.
Yeah. I'm not sure. So, if the rules went through very well, I came in, I saw that the bandwidth was going up and down a lot. So, that part might not be clear. And just now, like just a moment ago, I tried to stop and restart the stream at a lower bitrate, and it made it so it finalized the stream that we'd been running. So I did restart a new one, which has been going for about a minute now. I can stitch them back together later if we post it to, say, YouTube or something.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, it's running, it's streaming fine now, but it seemed like it was having trouble when I was looking at it a few minutes ago.
Perfect. Yeah, I guess we're almost at about 1 a.m. here in Eastern Time Zone, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. We can shut her off for now, and I guess we can go back through later, and if you want to just edit out that first bit of it, and we'll just kind of piece the rest of it together, I suppose.
Yeah, I'll try to put together a edited version for YouTube.
Yeah. Very good. Thanks for your help. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, too bad it, just those problems. I have no idea why it's, if I create the invites, I can't hear you guys. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But, yeah, it seems to be the way it works.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, alright, so I'll shut it down.